What's up, guys? My name is Aaron, and today I'm going to be reviewing the first part of season 1 for The Get Down. It's a Netflix original drama. This is about the origins of this hip hop group and the origins of this disco singer in the late 70s in 1977 in South Bronx, New York. That's kind of like the basic synopsis of it. The show stars Jessa Smith, Shameik Moore, and Harrison Guardiola. I'm sorry if I messed up her name. I've really been interested in this show for a while. I've kind of heard the development of this show throughout the last few years. Baz Luhrmann is one of my favorite directors. He's a visionary director. He's very creative with the shots that he does. Very colorful. I love the palettes that he has for his movies, The Great Gatsby, Moulin Rouge, Romeo and Juliet. He's just very colorful, and I love how animated and stuff his movies look. Plus, I liked Jessa Smith and Shameik Moore from Paper Towns and Dope, respectively. I thought Jessa Smith was really good as kind of the comic relief in that movie. I feel like Shameik Moore was just really great as a lead in that and Dope. So I was really looking forward to this show, and I was just really surprised at how good it was. I think this is probably one of my favorite Netflix shows out. One of my favorite things with the show is the tone. It looks at the origins of hip hop and disco music, but it's not grounded at all. The way that they kind of look at it, it's kind of like a superhero origin story, or kind of like a fable. It's very over the top, and I feel like that over the topness kind of adds to the superhero fable angle that they're trying to hit. It's very flashy, very colorful, very over the top, and I love how it looks. And even down to the performances, I feel like some of the performances are really over the top too. It really romanticizes that look at that era of time. The costumes, the sets, the production value, it just really feels like a lost relic from the late 70s. It's really lavish at times, but at times it can be kind of poverty stricken at times. I like the show had people of color. You don't get to see a lot of people of color in a project of this magnitude, and I like that a lot. It really does has the energy of the Baz Luhrmann films, but I feel like this had a little bit more depth to it, if that makes sense. I have the story, and the pacing was really good. The actual story of these people's origins is really interesting to me. It's really fascinating to see about the origins of hip hop and disco. You don't really see that story in movies or television shows. Seeing it in this show was really cool with this much of a production value, because this show really establishes the Get Down, the kind of forming of this hip hop group, and it establishes Mylene as a disco singer, and I really like how they do that in the show. I also feel like the central relationship in this show between Ezekiel, who's played by Jessa Smith, and Mylene, who's played by Harrison Guardiola, I feel like that was really compelling. Usually I'm not into kind of teen drama love interest stuff, but I felt like this was really well done. It was really over the top. It felt almost Shakespearean, or kind of like Romeo and Juliet, but that kind of added to it, and I liked how they put that in the show. Papa Forte, he is this South Bronx political leader who's kind of making moves and stuff, trying to make the South Bronx a better place. He's trying to provide schools, housing, just things that will keep the youth engaged and not kind of keep them out of the streets and stuff. I feel like that storyline was really interesting too. Those are kind of the main storylines in this show, and I feel like they're really interesting. But I felt like the best thing about this was just definitely the characters and the acting. You actually really care about the characters really quickly. I was caring about the characters, I would say maybe midway in the pilot. I felt like it was, almost automatically that you started caring for these people. And I felt like the acting was just almost amazing. It was just really great. Jaden Smith as Dizzy, I felt like he was really good. He was kind of playing a 70s version of himself. He was kind of playing a open-minded kind of hippie character who did graffiti art, but I felt like Jaden Smith is kind of that type of dude anyway, so he did a pretty good job kind of playing that role. T.J. Brown Jr. and Skyland Brooks, they play Boo Boo and Raw respectively. They're kind of members of the hip-hop group, The Get Down. They're really charismatic and likable. They really felt like kids, but I felt like they didn't really have a lot of, depth or anything to kind of play with. Jimmy Smits as Papa Forte, he was really good actor. He is so personable and charismatic as he's talking about, kind of doing the right thing and trying to, help and improve that area. You can kind of tell there's a darkness about that character that will do anything to kind of get what he wants done, and I like how Jimmy Smits played that character. And I feel like the chemistry between Get Down, that young hip-hop group, and Mylene and her friends, I feel the chemistry in those groups were really good. You really tell that they seem like friends. It kind of reminded me of Stranger Things with those kids in that show. But I felt like the best acting on the show was definitely the three young leads, Shameik Moore, Jessa Smith, and Harrison Guardiola. Shameik Moore as Shallon Fantastic was just superb. He was really likable. He was this kid on the streets who, I guess he didn't have a family or anything like that. He did what he had to do to kind of scrap by in life. That even includes kind of doing things that he probably shouldn't be doing. He's kind of like this kung fu guy too. This character was kind of like a throwback to kind of those blaxploitation movies. You can really tell that he wants to better his life, but he's caught up in this like gang life and he's trying to get out of it, but he does want to, kind of be on the right way. He doesn't want to just do this gang stuff. I feel like he was a really it was a really good performance from him. But I kind of expected that because he was really good in Dope. Harzan Guardiola, she is kind of like the unknown in this. She plays Mylene Cruz. I thought that she was great. I felt like for her first acting role, I felt like she was just really good. She was like this plucky and determined girl with a really great voice who wanted to be a disco singer, but her father and like kind of her religious background was kind of hampering that. I feel like she did a really good job kind of showing that she would do anything to do disco. She wanted to have like a better life. She wanted to get out of the Bronx, and I felt like she had a really good storyline. I felt like she was a really interesting character, and I felt like Harzan brought a lot of stuff to that role. I think my favorite performance on the show was Justice Smith as Ezekiel Figueroa. I felt like he was just like amazing. Like I feel he's like 21 years old and he gave like a performance that I feel like should be nominated for the Emmys. I think he was that good. He was this kind of really smart teenager who is a writer. He's kind of has a thing for Mylene. He kind of wants to make his mark in life, but he doesn't really know how he's going to do that. And he's kind of, just kind of floating by, kind of, thinking about what he wants to do. And when he wants to get with Mylene, she's saying that she wants somebody that has a life plan. She wants to get out of the Bronx, that she wants somebody that has a plan to, kind of help her out and stuff. And once she tells him that, he kind of runs into Shaolin Fantastic, who's kind of making this hip-hop group of his own, and he kind of finds what he's gonna do. He's gonna be the rapper, and Shaolin Fantastic is gonna be the DJ, and they did a really good job kind of showing his kind of storyline too. He was really emotional, he was really charismatic, he was really heartfelt, and really poignant too. There's a scene in the first episode that was just almost like heartbreaking, hearing him say this stuff. I thought that he was good in Paper Towns. I thought that he was probably my favorite part of the movie, but I didn't think that he was the type of dude that could give this type of performance. I thought he was like fantastic in this. And I also love the chemistry between Justice Smith and Shameik Moore's characters. They felt like a relationship blossoming and stuff. It just felt really authentic and really like every time that they were on scene, like I was just drawn to the TV. And I felt like the music was really good in the show too. I liked the choices that they had for songs that were of that time, and I also liked original songs that they did for the show. There's a song in the last few episodes where one of the kids, Boo Boo, where he sings like Michael Jackson. He's like really good. The music in this is really good, I feel like. The writing can be a little bit heavy-handed, a little bit corny at times, and I feel like when they cut away from the main trio story, I feel like it kind of falters at times. Not always, but I feel like that main trio story is so investing that I just want to know more about them. But overall, those things really didn't like detract from my enjoyment of the show. I love the tone of the show. I felt like it was really interesting. I like the colors and I like the color palette. The story itself was really interesting. Seeing the origins of this hip-hop group and this disco singer was really interesting to me. The characters were really good, really investing, and they stuck with you and you care for them. The acting was really good. I felt like those actors, they just brought it to the show. And the music was really good too. Good choice of older songs and original songs too. Overall, like I would give it an A. I really had no problems with it. I feel like the first episode was kind of paced weirdly, but it was interesting to me. I got into the characters, I was invested. That might be an issue for some people, but I felt like if you can get past that first episode, the show is just really good. I'm just kind of disappointed that the show is just 6 episodes right now, but we're gonna get 6 more episodes in 2017, so that's one way to look at it. So what did you guys think? Did you like the show? Did you hate the show? Let me know in the comments what you thought, and thanks for watching. Thanks guys. Bye.